All right. Hello. Hello. Thank you for being with me and coming to hang out today. We are having so much fun right now inside our community, and I'm really enjoying doing these lives every week because there's so much that's coming up as new people are joining, and we're getting to see where everyone's head is at, and like this is tough stuff getting started, right? So, today I want to just chat about something that we are hearing coming up a lot with new members and even with seasoned members. And that is this whole concept of I am not good enough, or am, I don't have enough skills, or I don't have enough, I'm not enough of something. And how do we get to, oh my gosh, I just got my first invoice paid? This is one of the toughest things when you are going out on your own and you are working for yourself, and we get into our heads and we have all of these thoughts. Some people call it imposter syndrome, and that's definitely a part of it, but I think it's even bigger than that. Um, and it's a confidence thing, and it's an experience thing. So let's dive into it, let's dig into it, and let's talk about some of the strategies that you can use in order to start getting past all of those blocks. So, when we are talking about self doubt, and the other side of that spectrum is confidence, self doubt often comes from from lack of experience, or some old conditioning that we have, et cetera, et cetera. And so the work here is to really figure out how we can manage the thoughts, because that's all it really is, right? There's no record book out there that says you do or do not have the experience to do the thing that you're trying to do. This is all about our own judgment and our own thoughts about ourselves, which is totally great because it means that we can change it, right? If this was something that was being projected upon us, we would have little control over it, and that's just not the case right now. So in my mind, imposter syndrome, or this self-doubt, is all about looking at others and thinking, I don't have the skills, the capabilities, the whatever in order to do that. And there's somebody else doing it, so I shouldn't do it myself. And it's so easy to talk yourself off the ledge. And what that ends up looking like is that we start spending all this time on over preparing, or perfectionism, or undercharging for our services all the time, the undercharging, hesitating to go out and have sales conversations, hesitating to pitch yourself, comparing yourself to others, mimicking others. So trying to follow someone else's steps. This is all so common. And in some ways, there's a little bit of like good to some of those things, right? But at some point in time, it holds you back. And the trick is to be able to recognize that that's what's holding you back. And so if I'm constantly telling myself I have to prepare something, or I have to be prepared, that is just another way of like your fear coming out and preventing you from doing something. Same with this perfectionism. Perfectionism is all based on fear. It's a fear of being judged. It's a fear of being wrong. It's a fear of being visible. It's a fear of all sorts of different things. So if we keep getting stuck in the preparation and the not doing, that is what it looks like. If I'm constantly undercharging, I will tell you this, that charging less and hoping to get more sales because of it is totally a myth. What happens when you charge too little for your services is that the people who you really want to work with kind of go, oh, there's something wrong there. It's not quite what I was expecting to pay. And so I don't want to pay for that because I'm worried now I'm not going to get what I needed, right? So that undercharging is like there's somebody better than me, or a comparison thing, right? The mimicking others, trying to always do what other people are doing. I see this even with seasoned entrepreneurs. Like they lose their confidence, or they try to rely on other people and copy what other people are doing because they get sold this big bill of goods. And I'll tell you, it just never works out, right? Because we need to build our own businesses. We need to do things from a place of confidence, or it just won't work. And like I've done this too. I have said yes to projects that I wasn't sure that I could do. And that was a defining moment for me, because I finally realized, oh, I was telling myself that I couldn't do it because I don't have the qualifications or the experience or the whatever. But actually, it was okay because what I had, which was the important thing, was the capability to be able to do it or the connection to the client, and they were fine. I have, found myself trying to back out of opportunities because I wasn't, totally confident that I was going to be able to do it. So, we do this, right? Like this is super, super normal. You see it all the time. But the trick is that it's going to hold you back and it's going to keep you back until you figure out how to work through it. So here's what I want you to hear. Clients will say yes to working with you, even if you're still figuring it out. The myth that you need to have everything perfect, that you have to be fully ready before you go out and sell, that's a myth, right? You need to know more about the work that you're doing than your potential client might. And that's it. You just need to know a little bit more because that's your area of expertise. They don't want to be experts, right? They don't want to be experts in what they're looking for help with. And to be honest, clients don't make a purchase decision because you check a bunch of boxes in terms of your technical skills or whatever you have on your resume. They want to have an energetic match. They want to feel like someone is confident. They want to have clarity and have someone who's speaking to them with clarity. They will choose that 100 times over perfection, over like some checklist that looks like a laundry list of skills. So please believe me when I tell you that clients are looking for you to have an energetic connection to them and make them feel something, as opposed to you needing to list off like a laundry list of skills. Um, Oftentimes when you go into these, you're always going to go into these calls feeling like you're underprepared or that you're missing all these things. But the biggest secret is to know that you are always going to be in a learning phase and you're always going to be able to get paid for that, right? And so, if you're trying to get hired to do something very, very technical like rocket science or something like that, yeah, okay, maybe then you're going to want to have the skills. But other than that, all you need to know is that you have the confidence to be able to learn what they need and that you can get started somewhere. And believe me, clients will still hire you, even if you are not like the expert in the room. They just need to feel like you're going to take care of them. So how do we make these little micro shifts so that you can start trying this out, right? Trying to get to those shifts. So a big part of this is how we talk to ourselves. So if we can reframe that inner dialogue from I'm still learning, I don't have these skills, I don't have these things, to hey, I know some stuff and I'm growing and I know enough to help. I know enough to help is all that you need. And then you can keep building and building. We're always building. We're always learning new skills. Again, it comes back to this thing that we've talked about so many times. Business and being in business is all about evolution. It is a continuous evolution. You never get to a certain place and just stay there. I hope you don't, because that's sort of like the end of things for you, right? So accepting that you're in perpetual motion and perpetual growth means that you never get to this place of judgment where you're like, oh, I don't have enough. Focus on the client's outcomes, not your credentials. They don't give a rip about you. Honestly, they don't give a rip about your credentials. Nobody wants to hear that. If I'm hiring somebody, I want to know that they're going to take care of me. That's all I want to know. You're going to take care of me. You're going to figure out the things that you need to figure out and that we can communicate. Please believe me on this. Trust me on this. That is the number one most important thing. They don't care if you don't have all the credentials. They don't care if you've never done this before. If you feel like someone who can figure this out and have their back, great. This is where you have to get into the head of your client and understand what they're actually looking for. Another thing you can do is anchor yourself in your past wins. So large or small, they prove that you have a capability. And so the people who are just starting out, they'll say to me, well, but I've never had any wins. I haven't had any experience. Yes, you have. Whether it was like staying at home with your kids and raising your kids, You learn time management, right? You have skills and capabilities. If I sat you down and I said, you can't leave this room until you figure out how to, build a project plan for me, you would do it because you'd use your instinct and you would already know, right? You would just know. So again, you have capabilities and you have experiences that contribute. If you're going to practice your sales conversations, go and practice them with safe people or in low stakes settings. Like, just get it out of your system. This is why we've built a bunch of stuff into our community, into our program, where you can have experiences doing the marketing and the sales before you have to do it with clients, right? And so you get those experiences and you get to have that like rip off the band-aid kind of moment. So get out there and practice. If I can never say this enough times, getting into motion and doing stuff is the best antidote for this fear and this self-judgment and all of this stuff that's holding you back. Getting out there, doing something, staying supported, taking consistent action, committing to what you're doing, it is the antidote to what you are probably telling yourself is holding you back. Okay, so to recap, all this imposter syndrome stuff, all this I'm not good enough, this is all just a function. It's totally normal, it's totally natural, and it's all just a function of lack of experience or lack of exposure, right? And the best way to get that experience and that exposure is to just start doing stuff, right? So you've got to manage these thoughts. You've got to manage these things um, in your head because otherwise you don't move forward. So reframing some of those beliefs or some of those thoughts that come into your head from something that's really unhelpful to something that is even just neutral, like, hey, okay, this judgment, why do we, what do we get from judging ourselves? What do we get from being negative to ourselves? Nothing. We just get to stay in fear. So how can we reframe all of those beliefs and those inner dialogue until we can just keep ourselves moving forward? Again, focus on the client's outcomes, not your credentials. And just anchor yourself in things, experiences that you've had before. Practice, get in motion, do these things. And then come and join us inside of the Fully Booked community because there's lots of opportunities for you to practice and get those experiences inside a really safe space. So this is like those 3 pillars that we talk about in terms of success. Commit and decide that you're going to do this. Get into motion and stay in motion. So take consistent action and then stay supported. Surround yourself with people who can support you through this journey. Because as soon as you isolate yourself, that's when all of this thinking and this I can't do it is going to become prevalent. Okay, let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Come pop into our free community. We got a free version of that community. Get to know us, see how it feels in there. You can go to fullybookedcommunity.com and hopefully there's some resources in there for you. And, guys, building these businesses for ourselves is a journey, right? It's a journey. We have to continue to practice and manage our mindset because that is the number one thing that's going to get in your way. Okay. Let me know how you're doing out there and what kind of support you need. And we will see you again next week. Same time, same place. See you later, guys.